So I've been playing around with the motion design tool in Unreal Engine to make this kind of animations with a car assembling itself. And I wanted to share a breakdown with you. I'm going to show you how I did it and what I think about it as well. So with that said, I'm going to open a new level. I've already imported my car model that I found on Sketchfab, and I used a GLB format mostly because it comes in already working out of the box with all the materials already assigned, and it doesn't break the texture references like FBX do in most cases. So I suggest you download GLB file too. Also, when you import the car in Unreal Engine, make sure that on the window, on the import window, you don't have combined meshes selected. If that's selected, you need to untick the box because we want all the individual meshes separated for this project. Okay. Another thing that I strongly recommend is to make a duplicate of this. So I have another folder with the same exact meshes, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So I'm gonna select all the meshes and I'm gonna drop them into the level. It's gonna take a minute. Okay. I'm also gonna hit this back arrow and put everything on the 0 position. And still with the meshes selected, I'm also gonna move them to a new folder, which I'm gonna call BMW in this case. Right, at this point, if you click on any of these meshes, you will notice that the pivot point remains in the exact same spot, no matter what I select. And this is because each of these mesh pivot point has an offset information in it, and that's how it snaps into the correct place when you bring it into the level. Okay, in order for this to work with the motion design tool, we cannot have the offset pivot point, because otherwise the effector will just move the car all together as one piece, not as separated pieces. And the reason why we made a duplicate of all the meshes is because that once this is done, it's destructive and it cannot be reverted. Okay. And if you want to use the same car model into another level, or for whatever reason you have to delete it from this level and put it back, when you re-import the mesh, it will not work the same way. And I'll show you because I have the other one with the modified pivot point already here. So if I put it into the level, you will see that all the meshes, instead of snapping in the correct position, they will be all messed up. Okay. So make sure that you have that duplicate for this. At this point, we can select all the meshes, and I'm going to modeling mode. We're gonna go to Xform and select Bake Transform. Once you click Accept, it's gonna take a minute again. But this does this for center pivot. It takes every single individual mesh and it will recenter the pivot point. Okay. So now if you click on each individual mesh, you see that the pivot point will snap in the center of that mesh. Okay. And that's what we want. Can get off the modeling mode now. And if you haven't already, go to plugins and activate the motion design plugin. Okay. You might need to restart the project if you haven't. And we can go ahead and select the motion design tool from the drop down menu, go to cloners, select a free placement, drop it into the level, select the cloner, and reset location and rotation, and delete the default clone. Okay. And can get off the modeling mode now. Once again, select all the car meshes, and you need to make sure that they are set to movable, otherwise you cannot parent it to the to the cloner. Now, this is where I have experienced some bugs. Sometimes the card just disappears and it won't appear back. So you need to get them off the parent and then drop them back in again. So that, and then again, and then it fixes the problem. Now, I'm not experiencing the same issue, fortunately, but in my hack, can just keep this in mind. Right now, from the cloner settings, we can already do a bunch of things, but we're not going to touch any of this for now. So I'm not going to go through everything in detail on how the modeling mode works. So I'm only going to show you how I made this animation for now. Otherwise, this video will be too long. Okay, select the cloner and create a linked effector. By default, it's a sphere. I think I'm going to leave it as a sphere for now. And I will increase its radius just a bit. So you see you have inner and outer radius, and that's how you can create some sort of fall off. I'm also going to change the easing from linear to in and out cubic. The mode is set to offset, and that's what we want. There are a bunch of different other ones that you can experiment with. I'm going to only do it on the Z axis, and you can see already what this is doing. You can also, if you like, you can move this on different axes, and as you move this back and forth, it creates this sort of animations. Okay, but I'll leave on this on the Z axis for now. I'll probably increase the outer radius a little bit more. Okay. The next thing that I did was to scale it down to 0 and have the car completely gone. Okay. So you can already see where I'm going with this. Now, at this point, I can duplicate the effector and parent it with the first one. So we have the effector 2 now. I'm gonna move it back about this much. And I'm gonna change from offset to push. And now if I move the first effector, because this one is parented, they're both gonna move. Okay, I think I can get it a little bit closer. And I'm gonna move it down a bit. Let's increase the push strength in this one. And that's pretty much what I did. It's not exactly the same as the one I did, but you can play with it and find your own sweet spot on how you would like this to play out. And that's pretty much it. Very easy. And I love the motion design tool. It's actually really powerful. It might, just for you to know, it might give you some issues with the materials when you drop the car meshes into the cloner. So you might need to retexture the car. I hope that's not gonna happen to you, but it did happen to me. And then the next thing I did was just create a new level sequence. And I dropped the effector, create a camera as well, position it where you like, and go to the effector, go add a transform track, and now you're gonna need to move the effector where the car is completely gone, keyframe its position, then go to the last frame. Oh wait, I wasn't in the first frame here. Yeah, go to the last frame, move the effector forward and keyframe again. and then you can watch your claim. Very good. Now you can do all the rest. You can make your environment, you can make your lighting and make it look beautiful. I hope that was helpful. And if you decide to share your results, please make sure you tag me. I would love to see what you can make with it, and I will repost your work as well.